I want you to allow yourself to play this money game with ease and grace, to play this money date format, to have fun with it. Set the scene early on. I lit a candle, have the wine, have some music playing, whatever it is that you enjoy. Create that environment for yourself so you can truly be at ease with this process. With that, let's talk about logistics. The logistics of the 5 steps that you want to take to get organized. Step 1, you are going to find an aggregation tool. What is an aggregation tool? This is the mint.com, this is the personal capital, this is the you need a budget, there's a bunch of them. And many of your banks also offer an aggregation tool. So if it's easier for you to simply go to your bank and use theirs, great. I know Vanguard offers one, Fidelity offers one, so you could go to your investment firm and see if they have some sort of aggregation tool if that's easiest. For me, I am super biased. I worked at Personal Capital and therefore use Personal Capital, and for me and where I'm at, it makes a lot of sense because I do like a third party aspect, not my bank, not my investment company, to have a separate view altogether, a third party view. So I use Personal Capital. I have a lot of clients that also use Mint. So Mint's a really great product. And the reason why I recommend usually one of those two is because of who they are backed by. So a little bit of history here. They are backed by Intuit or former executives from Intuit. And that is really important to me from a security standpoint. I am not as familiar with who actually backs NerdWallet or You Need a Budget. My experience of those platforms are not quite as secure. Again, simply my experience here. So that's why I choose not to use them. A lot of you may even use like bookkeeping software. So again, using some sort of secure platform to aggregate all of your accounts into one place to be able to see in one view everything that's going on and moving. Find what works best for you. There are a lot of tools that are not necessarily going to give you the full picture either. So make sure your aggregation tool does include your debts, it includes your assets. Ideally, you can put in manual information. So for example, I have clients that have really expensive artwork or really expensive collectibles, and those you have to be able to manually enter in order to determine, like, you know, what the asset value is. There is no kind of calculator that calculates that for you. So things like that are valuable or that you want to include in your overall financial picture, find an aggregator that can do the manual functionality. And the other one is just making sure that the tool that you're going to use has the capacity to give you and extract data from what you are entering. So that kind of rolls into the next step here of deciding that it gets to be easy. And what I mean by easy is allowing yourself to collect all of this information once and for all so that you can move forward. So that collection of data allows you to view it on a regular basis. It just continues, like the word aggregation, right? It continues to aggregate and accumulate the information to give you the data on the other side, your budget, to give you your cash flow, to give you the total debts that you have, to give you a plan of action for financial planning for the future. That's really what we're looking for at a very foundational level. Now, a lot of tools would give you a whole bunch of other bells and whistles, which again, I can nerd out about and talk about all day, but at a very foundational level, it's just important to be able to organize and see everything in one place. So that's really what we're looking for in this conversation. To collect all of that information, that's usually the hardest part, right? So collecting all of your logins for your savings, your checking, your investments, your credit cards, your loans, uploading these to the aggregation tool is step 2. So really that collection process. So step 1 is choosing an aggregator, making sure it's got all the pieces that you need. If you're not sure, feel free to reach out to me. Step 2 is collecting all of that to put into one place. Now, I want to address for a moment that there's usually a lot of resistance in this process. Resistance within yourself of, that sounds like a lot of work. I don't really want to do that. And even the resistance of using technology sometimes to do the budgeting, to manage everything in one place. And this is where I really encourage you to step out of your box, to really start acknowledging the self-talk that's happening. Because what I typically hear when I'm in client sessions around this is, I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. That sounds hard. There's a lot of I can't conversation happening. So I want to address this. Clearly, remember a recent client I was working with, 28 years old. She usually kept everything on paper journal, paper calendar, paper, really everything in her life, right? And so she banked online and stuff, but a lot of what she did was all very manual, very paper organized. And she was organized, but it was all on paper. So it wasn't as organized from a data collection standpoint to allow us to see progress. And so that's really where it was hard for her to, first of all, get onto an online platform. I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. There was a lot of conversation of resistance in that process, but a lot of conversation of just fighting for her limitations of I can't, or I won't, I am not able to. So I want to make sure that you acknowledge that within yourself. If that is happening, can you for a moment objectively step outside of yourself and that dialogue that's happening and make a decision to at least try and see how it goes, see if it's possible to allow yourself to make this experience a little bit easier for yourself for forevermore. That's the biggest thing, is once you do it once you aggregate all of this information and decide that it gets to be easier, it makes it easier for the rest of your life. Like truly for the rest of your life, it's gonna be easy. And so I want that for you, because I know how just unimaginable it is in the moment right now when how you're experiencing it. But once you get that, it is just this unlocking of what's possible and seeing all of your accounts in place and understanding what's going on with your money. And you can dig deeper and deeper and deeper into creating action plans and creating the income you desire, creating the savings, the investing. All of those pieces are really crucial to this organization piece and moving forward. So step 3 is inputting all of your accounts into this tool and waiting 2 weeks before reviewing. The waiting part is sometimes what some of you get impatient about. And the reason we're gonna wait 2 weeks is because we want to let the data aggregate. So how this is working on the back end is you have this tool. I'm going to use Personal Capital as an example. You have this tool. Everything is starting to collect as far as what bank information is coming through, your credit card information, your investment account information. So from the date you start aggregating, sometimes it's able to pull back information from the past. Sometimes it isn't, just depending on the bank and the information you're providing. Then once you have about 2 weeks worth of data in there, maybe a little bit more if it can backtrack that data, now we have some details and some information to digest. And in the meantime, while you're waiting for that 2-week window to pass and the aggregation to unfold a little bit, is start thinking about your goals. Start thinking about your 90-day goals, your 1-year goals, 3-year, 5-year, and if you're really up for it, go 10 and 20 years out. Knowing that the further you go out, the more vague it might be, and that's totally fine. There are a lot of goals that come up when you start thinking about goals that you may not have recognized previously simply because you hadn't thought about it, and that's okay. I think the concern I have for most of you is if you've ever worked with an advisor, I'm guilty of this from past lives, we're only talking about retirement. We're only talking about this very, very long distant future thing that may happen at 60, 70, somewhere in between there. And it seems very foreign, like I don't know what that's gonna look like or feel like. And I also want to address that as millennials and as younger generations come through, we don't want to wait. We don't want to wait to live our lives until some future date. Like, why can't we live it now and experience some form of retirement, what that looks like later on? So that is all absolutely possible. And that is something I've transitioned over the 15 years that I've been doing advising into. How can we actually establish more effective goal setting techniques to allow you to meet different milestones throughout your lifetime, not just one right now with emergency funds, one right now with buying a home maybe, and then one later on with retirement. There's so many things in life that happen between now and 65 or 7 years old, and we want to put that into the plan, so get more detailed with it. So start that process of journaling out what you want those goals to potentially look like. And we'll do a whole separate video on goals, but that's what you can do in the interim. Now, step 4, you are going to go back into the aggregation platform and review your cash flow, in particular, cash flow or budget, however they're naming it in the system you're going to use. Money coming in, money coming out. That's what we want to review. How much money is coming in, how much money is leaving. And I want you to really rethink the whole budgeting conversation, because how budgeting often looks when we just kind of think about it or do it on our own and haven't really been taught is we start to list out all of our bills, right? All the bills that we are required to pay. Then maybe we go look up, okay, what is the income coming in? And then we do some simple math around, I have $5,000 coming in and my bills are equivalent to $3,000 a month. So there's $2,000 over. Or maybe my bills are $5,000 a month and my income is $5,000 a month. Nearly 55% of people live paycheck to paycheck, which means that they're spending the majority of, if not all of what they are making. So that will be half of you. And we just get to acknowledge, okay, these are the bills. What you will also likely find is that discrepancy of $5,000 a month maybe comes in, $3,000 a month leaves. Where does the other $2,000 go? This gets even more important as you continue to raise your income, right? So in experiencing $12,000 come in and $8,000 is what's spent on, where is that extra $4,000? I've worked with millionaires, I've worked with people who make 50 grand, like everything in between. And the same thing runs true for most of you. And that is that money's coming in, money's flowing out, but you don't know where it goes. So that's what we're here to uncover and organizing all of it in between. When you're reviewing cash flow, review it alongside your goals with potential numbers of what could be changing along this process. So if for the next month, you decide that, okay, there's $3,000 a month and I don't know where that $3,000 is going, let's start to monitor that a little bit further. So that's what's so beautiful about using some sort of aggregation tool is it's now tracking it all for you, which I want to address will be scary at first. You will start to realize how much money you spend on lattes, on eating out, on shopping, on this, on that. And you get to sit with that grace of now you're just in awareness, right? We're no longer in denial. We're transitioning from denial into awareness. What is very powerful about awareness is you get to now decide what to do with that feedback and that information. The information that you're creating awareness around is just that. It is information. And it doesn't have to equal good or bad. Oh, great that I saved $2,000 a month. Oh, bad that I spent another extra $1,000. Like, no, you get to allow part of your budget to be the fun and experiencing of life that you're already enjoying, right? We're not going to restrict that from you, but we are going to create the awareness so then you can feel more confident with making decisions moving forward. And if you do have very specific goals around, I want to save to buy a home or a car or an investment property or build a business, now you have the control that you really actually want to be confident in the decisions that you're making moving forward because you've done the work in organizing everything and monitoring and tracking it and letting a tool really do all of that for you. You just show up to your money date and experience it. Make sense? Cool. All right, last and final step. Step 5 here. You're going to repeat this on a regular basis. Super easy. Ideally, at first, and probably for the first 5 or 6 months, you want to repeat it on a monthly basis, these money dates. And the organization piece, coming back to it, is it still organized? Are there more pieces that I need to add to it? Am I missing anything? What's coming up? And money flowing in and money flowing out. Then from there, you could start to do more quarterly interactions with the money dates. Really just depends on the cadence that you want to set within you looking at your money. And again, I always enjoy making it fun, so allow it to be fun and a sustainable way to continue to interact with your money. Now, if a lot of this was overwhelming to you or confusing to you, you can always schedule time with me to talk through it. We can set it up together. But the very first step, the easiest step, is to join the Her Money Club. From there, you can get all the information gradually over time that you need to set up these money dates. And what I've recognized in doing this for a while now is when we actually start to, as a community, track how much we save, track how much debt we pay off as a community, track how many dollars we make. There's multiple things that we like to track, and it's so fun to see the numbers roll in on my end, but also share that with all of you and recognize that we create momentum as a community, and we allow in that accountability to create that sustainable momentum. So that's really the power in joining a community like Her Money Club, to allow yourself to expand into more possibility with the money story, with your reimagining of what your money relationship looks like. There is a free workbook that comes along with this series, so feel free to download the Money Date Playbook. I'll link it below so you have access to it. It is also on the website at financialfitnessunleashed.com. You can find it there. And like I said, if you want more support, feel free to reach out to me and we can talk further to set up your money dates and get you organized. Take care.